Denver news icons are back in the studio for one night of Libby Weaver and Ron Zappolo. Tomorrow night at 9 on Fox 31. This is Fox 31 News at 9.
Thanks for staying with us for Fox 31 News at 9. I'm Ron Zappolo.
And I'm Libby Weaver. We are back. They made us an offer we just couldn't refuse. And it is our honor to return to the airwaves right here at Fox 31.
That is, Liv. It's just like old times. For the next few minutes, at least, as we have taken over the anchor desk.
We might not ever leave.
We may like this so much we may stay. We're going to relive a little Denver television history.
All right. Do you remember where you were at this exact time on this exact night? Now, hold it. 20 years ago.
I do. I was shaking in my boots right over there.
That's right.
And you were holding my hand, and I was saying, I hope we can get through this.
Sure, something like that. But we were right here helping to launch a new era in Colorado journalism with the very first edition of Fox 31 News at 9.
It's hard to believe it's been 20 years.
I know, crazy.
We're glad that you're with us for our very first night.
The old videotape is a little faded and crinkled, but the memories from 20 years ago tonight are not.
This is Fox 31 News at 9 o'clock.
The Fox Corporation had spent months and millions preparing to launch a news operation in the already crowded and competitive Denver TV market. And Bill Dallman, the news boss at the time, had two crucial hires to make.
How do you make a splash? The only way to do it is to get an icon in the industry and in the local market, Ron Zappolo, and literally a national level talent, Libby Weaver. Pair them together and get a huge splash.
Zappolo was a Denver TV mainstay. Weaver, already known nationwide as an anchor on the TV show Extra.
Good evening. I'm Libby Weaver.
And I'm Ron Zappolo.
Both taking a big gamble on an upstart news operation and hoping it paid off.
I was more comfortable after I met Ron, and then we, did this, and I kind of like being the underdog. I thought that was cool, and starting something from scratch. Yeah. But it was brand new. You got to remember, the building was brand new. Everybody that was in here was brand new.
I knew in the rehearsals that she was already the best anchor in Denver.
We caught up with Ron and Libby days ago, more than 7 years after they decided to step away from the Fox 31 News airwaves.
Do you miss it? You want to go first?
I get this question on the golf course a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Do I miss it? Yeah. And I'm going to be totally honest with you.
I need it.
I don't miss work. I miss, and this is totally from my heart, I miss all the relationships with Jeremy, with Libby, with Serena, with a million athletes that I've been around for 45, 50 years.
Tonight, we learned that a Colorado Rockies baseball player was at the scene.
20 years ago tonight, they were cheering on their coworkers, some of whom still work here at Fox 31.
I'm Shawl Turner, weekend anchor and health reporter here at Fox 31 News. I'll never forget my first night at Fox 31. All of us came from across the country to reach for our dreams.
And Kim Posey.
Seems like such a long time ago, but at the same time, it just seems like yesterday.
And to this day, they're still watching and cheering us on as we try to keep the good thing they created going.
Does it give you a sense of pride to see that things are still ticking along here?
Yeah.
It does. It gives me goosebumps. It's really fun.
It's hard to explain coming in here. Yeah, it does. I got a little, it does give you goosebumps walking here for us. We lived here so long.
From KDVR's News and Technology Center, this is Fox 31 News at 9 o'clock.
So here's the thing, we're not done. We got more from Ron and Libby coming up later in the newscast, because I could listen to them talk all day long.
Me too.
I love them. I miss them. They're great people, and it was great to see them again.
And I mean it, the studio is still glowing from them. They have such an inner light, and it was such a pleasure. And Fraser, you actually got to work with them toward the very end.
Oh yeah, I joined them in early of 2009. Yeah. Stayed with them until they left. They left me with these two, so I had to move on. No, but it was great. A lot of people who have been here a long time know that Channel 2 and Fox 31 were competitors. So I was their competitor for the longest time until we merged and became a sister stations. Wow. And it was great because when I came in here, Ron and Libby couldn't have been nicer. As a matter of fact, I remember distinctly Ron saying, if you need anything, he brought a sandwich every night to eat. I'll give you half my sandwich. If I don't have a sandwich, I'll go get a sandwich for you. Anything you want, anything you need, we're all one team. Let's do it.
I got something, you guys. I got to do it quick because our producer's going to be mad. But I ran real quick. Oh, Ron and Libby, this is for you too.
Oh,
20
nice.
years to Fox 31 tonight. I'm going to light it real quick.
There won't be any left for Ron and Libby, but I was going to bring champagne, but we're only 20, not old enough to drink. So next year.
Yeah, that's true. Once we're 21.
Okay. I'm old enough. I'll get the champagne.
Do the honors, Hubbard. Make a wish.
Right. Make a wish real quick.
Wait, COVID. I can't.
Yeah, that's true. I'll do it. It's true. I'll do it for us.
All right. We'll be back with more Ron and Libby in the 20th anniversary. Let's get to work with Pinpoint Weather. And we're going to start with a look at the satellite.
This is Fox 31 News at 9:30.
Time for some more fun now. A few minutes ago, we told you what a momentous day this is at Fox 31 News. 20 years ago tonight, we've produced our first ever newscast.
We're really proud. We were just talking about it to work here. And our very first anchors sat down with us to give us an update on their lives 20 years later. So many of you have asked. So let's just say that coming back here, it was a real trip down memory lane for them.
It was a surreal experience just days ago when Ron and Libby walked through the doors of the Fox 31 News studios for the first time in years. The same studio where they launched our entire news operation 20 years ago tonight.
I remembered vividly the first night when we walked.
Oh, so do I.
So it doesn't seem like 20 in that sense, because I remember that first night. Remember the night we had the news all planned out. We had been rehearsing for like 3 or 4 months, which that's another story in itself.
Yeah.
But remember the first night we had horrible weather.
It's too dangerous for us to go live from the scene. Sari, it is nasty out there.
It sure is, Ron and Libby.
So we had to change the whole newscast. Yep. And it was like done on the fly, and it, you know, we did all right.
And it worked.
Yeah. Watches up for the Bobcat burn area up in Larimer County.
So that was fun. And I knew I had somebody great with me that was as competitive as I was and wanted to make this work. That is my picture. That picture has been here for 20 years.
So many of you are wondering, what are they up to these days? Libby is a very successful realtor and loves spending time with her 3 kids.
So Ellie, who is 20 years old, took her first steps in this newsroom. I'm not kidding. First steps in this newsroom. You remember that?
I do remember that.
She's going to be a junior at CU, and my son Scotty's going to be a freshman at CU, and then Nicholas is going to be a junior at Arapahoe High School.
As for Ron, after leaving Fox 31 a few years back, he reignited his love of sports, doing Broncos play-by-play coverage.
And you have grandkids all.
I have my job is grandfather, so all my kids are doing well, and thank God they've moved around a lot, but they're all home now, so we have all the grandkids. So to say that we do a lot of babysitting, that would be underplaying it.
What do they call you? Do they call you Pops?
Call me Papa.
Papa.
They all call me Papa.
Both Ron and Libby finally enjoying some family time after devoting so many years to their work family.
An exclusive story tonight about the no-knock raid that led the mayor to fire the former Denver police chief.
Right here at Fox 31.
And it's still, you know, I still have people come up, and I had a guy repairing a toilet at my house the other day. Libby Weaver, you know, I was like, oh my gosh, do you actually remember?
Were you properly attired? And, you know?
Yes, I was.
Okay, just want to make sure.
And he goes, I miss you and Ron, and you know what? And I thought, oh my gosh, you know, that was really sweet. So to know that we had an impact, a lasting impact, is I'll always be proud of that. Always be proud of that.
I'll tell you what, it was great to see Papa and Libby here last week, and fantastic. And the first time I set eyes on them when they walked in the door after working with them for so many years, they look exactly the same. And as you could tell by that picture with me in the champagne on Ron's last night, I look exactly the same. 9 years later, I haven't changed. Oh, time is tough. Time is tough.
Good evening. I'm Ron Zappolo.
And I'm Libby Weaver. Thank you for joining us for the premiere of Fox 31 News at 9 o'clock.
From KDVR's News and Technology Center, this is Fox 31 News at 9 o'clock.
Was that the beast that just drove by, or it was like a baby beast?
The mini version of the beast, yes.
The beginning of the beast. So this morning we are celebrating 20 years of news on Fox 31. Happy birthday, Fox. And there are some clips from our debut. That's the 9 p.m. newscast on July 16th, 2000. Libby Weaver and Ron Zappolo leading that team.
And we're so excited to have another member of that team joining us this morning right here in studio. This is David Treadwell. He was Fox 31's first sports anchor, and many of you probably recognized his name as a former Denver Broncos kicker.
A Denver legend.
That's
sitting
right.
With us
Denver,
right now, you guys.
Thank you for remembering.
Does it look a little bit different now than it did in 2000?
It looks about the same. I think that was the biggest eye-opening experience for me coming into TV. I'd always done radio. I'd had a local sports talk show. And coming in here, the idea was you got this cold studio with open ceilings and lights everywhere. your responsibility was to warm it up for the viewers at home. So that's what we tried to do.
That's awesome. You said that you have a funny little story.
Yeah, we got to hear this.
Kind of how you came to be on Fox with the sports team.
Yeah, all I'd ever done was radio. So Bill Dallman, the programming director at the time, called me and said, hey, we want to consider you for the sports anchor for our new Fox 31 launch. And I was like, okay, I'll just be honest with you, I've never done TV before. He said, don't worry about it, we'll teach you, we can figure that out. So he flies me stealth to Salt Lake City to put an audition tape together.
Oh, wow.
And so we go the whole thing, we do the teleprompter and all that good stuff. And quite frankly, I don't think I was very good at it. And for some reason, he still picked me. I think because what we figured out was, hey, you're a sports guy, you love sports, we'll figure out how to do the teleprompter thing. And for me, what I ended up doing, I'd write a short little opening, then go to bullet points and just call the highlights as I saw them.
See, it's not as easy as everyone thinks it is out there. But we want to talk about Ron and Libby. You see them on the screen there. Believe it or not, I was an intern here. 2007, I just graduated high school. I knew I wanted to get into this field. Such nice people. Talk about the team you guys have. We still have Kim and Shawl on our team here now.
Yeah, it's great to see Ron and Libby in that opening again. I still bump into them periodically around town. They were super pros in what they did, and obviously having Ron, the premier sportscaster in town, to learn from and get ideas on how to cover sports, it was fantastic. So they were the consummate professionals. I enjoyed it. Bob Gooseman was a fun guy to be around doing the weather guy. It was fantastic. And of course, Kim and Shaw, they're still here, and that's great that their careers have continued on.
Well, and you're still in Colorado, right?
Still in Colorado.
And, I mean, you're the sports expert. You're the Broncos expert. Tell us a little bit about, gosh, what maybe is going through the minds of the guys right now? I mean, they're supposed to be in training camp and having normal practices and getting ready for a normal season, but we just can't do that right now.
Well, I hope they play.
Me too.
And I hope they figure it out. I think they will. But as a player, there are a lot of unknowns. You don't know if you're going to have preseason games. You don't know what training camp's going to be like. You don't know what the regular season's going to be like. And I can't tell you how awkward it'd be kicking field goals in an empty stadium.
Right?
Yeah.
The only thing I can compare it to was back in my playing days when we went to the LA Coliseum and played the Raiders. They were in LA at the time. And there were no fans in the stands there either. So that's what it was kind of like.
Well, Mile High, it's usually packed. Broncos country has the best fans out there in the world. David Treadwell, a Denver legend. He was part of the first newscast 20 years ago right here on Fox 31.
Time
we appreciate
flies,
you coming in.
Yeah.
It sure does. And by the way, Ron and Libby, they're going to be on the 9 o'clock show tonight. So we had David this morning. We're going to have Ron and Libby tonight on the Fox 31 News at 9. Cool to see you. I was a big fan of his, the Broncos fan growing up, too.
Thank you
so
very
thanks
much.
for coming by.
Great to be here. Great seeing you guys.
Thanks,
Good to be back in the studio again.
9:50 now on this Thursday morning. Let's get over to meteorologist Brooks Garner. What do you think of Bob Gooseman, the weather guy back in 2000?